Aloha everybody, this is Pablo Wegesend. I'm back with another YouTube speech. In my previous video, I talked about why it's time for Hawaii to become its own independent nation. And I mentioned in context of Donald Trump becoming president of the United States and saying that the other 49 states want him, they can have him. So I just want to say a few more things about this. Basically, the most important thing I want to say is that it's nothing personal against the U.S. or the people of the United States. I love the U.S. culture. I love it. I love the people of the U.S. Well, I don't love Donald Trump, but I love the people of the U.S. I respect the U.S. traditions. I respect it. I respect the United States flag. I don't like people burning the U.S. flag. I don't like that. So I'm not gonna burn the U.S. flag. In fact, I remember around 2001 when 9/11 happened and people were wearing the U.S. flag pins on their shirts. I was doing that. I was wearing the U.S. flag on the pin on my shirt. I think about a year or so I did that. So I did that, because I respected what the U.S. was trying to do against Al Qaeda and fighting the war on terror. And so I respected that. I also respect the U.S. national anthem. So I'm not gonna join Colin Kaepernick kneeling down during the national anthem. I'm still gonna stand for it. Just like how Usain Bolt, who's from Jamaica, remember one time he was being interviewed at I think it was one of those Olympic events, and he was being interviewed by a reporter, and all of a sudden in the background he heard the United States national anthem, and Usain Bolt was like, "Oh, stop the interview right now, which stand for the national anthem." And Usain Bolt respected another country's national anthem, right? He's from Jamaica, but hey, U.S. has their own national anthem, we'll stand for it. So I'm still gonna stand for it. Yeah, I'm not gonna join Colin Kaepernick and kneeling down. I'm not gonna join the people burning U.S. flags. No way. No way. I have respect for the U.S. traditions, U.S. culture. I have respect for 4th of July because I respected the United States American Revolution against the British. I just think it's time for us to do our own thing. Just like how, like the American Revolution, a lot of them were descendants of British settlers, right? A lot of them have emotional ties, cultural ties, psychological ties to Great Britain. That was their motherland, but you know what? We're living in a different continent now. It's time for us to do our own thing, right? It's time for us to make our own rules. That's how the American Revolution was all about, right? America still had cultural ties to Great Britain even after the Revolution. People of the United States still love Shakespeare even after the American Revolution, okay? Right? And people in the United States embraced the Beatles and embraced Rolling Stones when they came to tour here. And the people of the United States embraced Spice Girls and One Direction. So U.S. didn't stop being influenced by Great Britain. It's just that we live in a different continent. We live in a different place. We live in a different context. We do our thing. You do your thing. So that's the same thing I want to say for Hawaii and the United States. Is that I embrace a lot of things about the United States culture. A lot of things I embrace. I embrace a lot of foods that people eat in the United States. I embrace the technology. I embrace the music. Hip hop is a big part of my identity, a major part of my identity. I'm still gonna listen to it when, United States and Hawaii go separate ways. I'm still gonna be influenced by U.S. culture. It's just we live in a different region. People in Hawaii, it's part of the Pacific. It's part of Polynesia. We live in the Pacific Ocean. We're not in North America. So Hawaii does its own thing. We do our own thing. We run our islands. We control all of our tax revenues. We do our thing. The people in the other 49 states, you have to do your own thing. You want Donald Trump? You can have him. You can have him. We don't want to listen to him. We don't have to listen to him in Hawaii. Why we gotta listen to him? Why should all the senators and congressmen for all the different states control what we contribute in tax revenues? All our tax revenues should stay here in Hawaii. That's why Hawaii should be independent. We pay taxes to ourselves. We control our revenues. We do our own thing. Nothing personal, right? Just like when America, the United States of America, separated from Great Britain, we still had cultural ties with Great Britain. It's just the United States wanted to do its own thing. So we wanted to do our own thing. It's nothing personal against the United States. I love a lot of things about the United States culture. I love it. And I will continue to love it. I continue to respect their traditions. Just like, when Mexico was once a Spanish territory, a lot of people who are descendants of Spanish settlers lived in Mexico. They're like, even though we had cultural ties to Spain and psychological ties, emotional ties, you know what? It got to a point where even they wanted to separate from Spain, right? Same here in Hawaii. Donald Trump is president. Okay, you don't have to listen to him. We do our own thing here. Let the other 4 United States deal with Donald Trump. We do our own thing. We control our own tax revenues. We tell ourselves what to do. You don't have to listen to Donald Trump. It's time for us to do our own thing. Nothing personal against the U.S. I love the U.S. Okay? And of course, I know a lot of people are gonna say I just want to go over a few more things. Yeah, people say that if it wasn't for the United States, that people in Hawaii would still be living in grass huts. Okay, wait. Yeah, when Captain Cook came to Hawaii, in the 1780s, 1770s, because Hawaii was isolated, it was technologically behind the rest of the world. That's true, but the Hawaiians saw the Western inventions, they wanted it, and Hawaii was independent will continue to be independent between the late 1700s to 1893. So it was about 100 years of Hawaiians embracing Western technology, Western inventions. Look at this. This is Iolani Palace. They had electricity before the White House. Before. Okay? You look across the street. I don't know if we could see it stuff. Well, okay, somewhere around here is the statue of King Kamehameha. Okay? He united the other islands by using Western weapons. He had British advisors to help him fight his rivals. So Hawaiians did embrace Western technology, even while they're still independent. So King David Kalakaua, who's a married monarch, because he wanted the Hawaiians to embrace a lot of traditions that kind of faded away. But King Kalakaua also embraced Western inventions. He traveled the world, met with emperors from Japan. So Hawaii was already embracing Western inventions and modernization before the U.S. conquered Hawaii. And yes, I understand that Hawaii benefited in some way being under the U.S. because, if it wasn't for the U.S., that Hawaii might have been conquered by Japan or maybe Russia or Germany. But we're not living in the 1940s anymore. That ship has sailed already. Japan and Germany is not conquering other countries. Okay? Russia, okay, I know it has this drama with Ukraine and some of its former republics, but I don't think Putin's a threat to Hawaii. I don't think so. I mean, Putin's been in power for since 1999. I think a few years he had a break because Medvedev, his crony, was running things for a few years, but Putin's not going to take over Hawaii. But yeah, and even I don't even think North Korea is gonna take over Hawaii. I mean, yeah, I don't like Kim Jong-un and some of the North Korean dictators, but I don't think they're gonna take over. But yeah, definitely, we're living in a different era. Not most of the world has its own independent countries. I mean, back when in the 1940s, much of the world was under European domination and Japan had its own territories, and those days are over, okay? Okay, most of the world are independent. Even much of the Pacific Islands are independent. Tonga is independent. Western Samoa is independent. Okay? Vanuatu is independent. Fiji's independent. Why not us? Why not us in Hawaii? Why not us? I mean, you know, Fiji, Tonga, and Western Samoa were under the British for a while. And they embraced, and those three island nations embraced Christianity, which were brought in by the Westerners, and they still embrace Christianity, but they do their own thing. So they still kept some of the cultural ties with Britain, but they also do their own thing. Why not us? We embrace a lot of things about U.S. culture, but we can make our own rules and do our own thing. We make our own rules. It's time for us to make our own rules. It's time for us to be independent. It's time for us to control our tax revenues. We don't have to listen to Donald Trump. We don't need him to tell us what to do. It's time. I respect the United States. I respect the culture. But it's time to separate. We do our own thing. You do your own thing. And we treat each other with mutual respect. Okay? Well, thank you for watching this video. Thank you and mahalo.